Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. This week seems like full frame mirrorless week. So we're talking about that right now. So if it wasn't enough, last week Nikon announced the Z7 full frame mirrorless, which was a bit of a yawner because, well, let's just face it, Sony has been killing the mirrorless game for years now. Not to mention that Canon announced its entry into the full frame mirrorless game just a couple of days ago with the new EOS R. And the R supposedly standing for revolution. Except Sony started the revolution how many years ago? So let's compare when those releases happened. So first full frame mirrorless, Sony A7ii full frame mirrorless that was released December of 2014. That's almost 4 years ago. Let's compare the Sony A7ii with the new Nikon Z7 and the Canon EOS, since those are the three first full frame mirrorless released by each of those companies. Fair enough? Well, perhaps. So first to market was Sony with the A7ii, full frame mirrorless, 24 megapixels with an ISO range of 100 to 25.6K. Okay, seems solid and reasonable enough, especially for 4 years ago. So shooting video in X, AVCS, AVC HD, and MPEG-4. Shooting pictures at 6 frames per second, and coming in at a price point at $1,100 to $1,200 at today's price. Next up was the Nikon Z7. That was just announced a week ago, August 23rd, so you can pre-order that now for a later September delivery. However, hold your horses. Don't get started too quickly because they've already announced delays in the pre-orders. That's a drag. So it comes in at a 45 megapixel at an ISO 64 to the 25.6K, but shoots 4K at 30 frames per second. Okay, significantly more on the sensor side. You're capturing more data. You're getting a 4K image at 30 FPS. 1080, it'll shoot 120 FPS. It shoots an MOV MP4 in an H.264 MPEG-4 compression. Okay, that's awesome. Also, supposedly, they've mentioned there is timecode support. So if you're primarily using this camera to shoot video on, that's a cool feature. However, the body alone weighs in at a hefty price of $3,400. And if you're gonna get that with the kit lens, it's gonna be more like $4,000. So at that price, I might consider moving into a more, for me, shooting video primarily, I might consider moving into more of, you know, like the C2 or 300, or into the FS5, which I use regularly, or even the FS5 II, which is still not much more than that price point. It is more feature rich when it comes to video. So last but not least is the Canon EOS R, to start the revolution 4 years later. So the EOS R comes in at a 30 megapixel camera with an ISO range of 50 to 102K. So the ISO is considerably more robust on the Canon than it is on the older Sony or on the just recently announced Nikon. It also shoots 4K at 30 frames per second. And it touts an 8 frames per second continuous shooting on the photo side, which is 1 frame less than the Nikon. I mean, they always seem to go back and forth on that element. And the Canon weighs in at $2,300 just for the body. Now you add the kit lens, and that's gonna bring it up to about the $3,500 price point, which again, for a mirrorless, when you can get something for 1/3 the cost in the Sony, even though you're not getting the 4K, is 3 times the price worth just that thing. Because it seems like we're back to just that thing. Now yes, the Canon has the flip out screen. It's very tempting for a mirrorless full frame vlogging camera. So the Nikon, like the Sony, has the tilt up screen, which is nice if you're shooting out in the daylight and you need a different angle, or if you're shooting at different angles or positions, you can adjust that to be able to see it. Not the flip out like the Canon has. So here's the thing, I'll propose to any one of the manufacturers, if they're willing to send me one of these bodies with the kit lens to use for the next 3 years, I will use that exclusively for the vlog for every video that's produced. I'm in the market and I can easily be bought. Anyway, there's the different features. If you're on a budget, bam, it's a no-brainer. The Sony is the winner on the budget line. I would say that the Canon, if you know, the price point is a little bit less than the Nikon. It has a flip-out screen, which is cool. Shoots 4K, and we all know that the color profile on the Canon sensor with the Canon glass is just, it's really tough to beat. And the Nikon has the speed and has a lot of amazing things going for it as well. So though Sony is owning the mirrorless full frame market right now and has been for 4 years, we're now at a point where we're gonna start to see, now there's gonna be some competition. I think Sony's still owning it and for the next few years. Despite these entries, they've been perfecting that and working on those things for a lot longer. Their low light is crushing it, so there you have it. But anyway, that's it for Full Frame Mirrorless Week. Thank you so much for watching the channel. Thank you for your support. Mash that subscribe button to join the film crew. Smash that like button on this video if you so choose. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified anytime a new video drops. And until next time, cheers.